early morning NBA Hardwood show today. We got the champs here. That's Big T. He's known as the champs right now. Look at him. He's so happy. This is what happens, guys. How are you doing it?
Were you like back like this? Were you like, woo?
No. See, this is what happens, guys, when you let them get even one game. This is what you see how happy this guy is. This man, he gets one game and he couldn't wait to text me. Oh, he was texting me right at the end of the game. Oh, I thought Michael Jordan was coming to get me. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Michael Jeffrey. He's Ant Edwards. He's the only Ant Edwards, by the way.
He's back to Ant now?
He's coming. He's coming today. I told you. I said he doesn't want to be called Michael. So
you weren't saying nothing about Ant one night when you texted me like Michael's coming or whatever you said. Michael something. You said Michael owned you. Well,
because I was the one. I compared him to Michael way before the playoffs started. So I already said that to you, and you laughed at me. So I said that to you as a joke. But then everyone ran with it on Twitter. I didn't realize that Stephen A. Smith and all these fucking jokes out there in the media were already comparing him to Michael Jordan after like 5 playoff games too, by the way.
One playoff series win?
Yeah, literally after one playoff series win. So I didn't realize that because I don't watch like regular TV. Like the only thing I watch on regular TV is sports. I don't watch like any of those sports shows. I don't watch ESPN unless there's like actual games on ESPN. I hate all those shows. They're all terrible. Like I'd rather listen to like a podcast, you know what I mean? Where someone at least like who watches sports. Like I know for a fact those guys don't watch sports. They literally read off a script that someone wrote for them. Like I don't care to listen to any of that bullshit. But Stephen A. Smith didn't even know that his own team, the Knicks, traded away someone, Quentin Grimes, in the regular season, and he thought Quentin Grimes was still on the team. One day I saw that clip and I was dying laughing. I was like, this is a perfect example. Like that's his team, and he didn't even know that, supposedly his team. Yeah. But Tony, we get your team on this slate today. I know you're pumped up. You feel good. Your team took a game in Minnesota. It's got to make you feel good too as a fan that your team pretty much died, because that was a must-win game. Like no matter what anyone says, they had to win that game. If they lose that game, they're down 3-0. And next game in Minnesota, it's probably over, right? But they didn't. They won. They won convincingly too. So you're feeling pretty good going into today's game, I would assume.
Yeah, it was a tester. I said it on Twitter. I took plenty of L's after games 1 and 2. I took my L's like a man too, and took it, and they got owned. And honestly, I bet on the Nuggets, but I was waiting to see. I was excited to see how they'd respond, especially Jamal Murray with all the junk around him, throwing the heating pad. They acted like he tried to murder someone on the court by throwing a heat pad in frustration.
I mean, they just wanted him suspended.
Yeah, which would have been stupid anyways. And I would say the same thing if it was the opposite way. I wouldn't have wanted any of those guys suspended because that's stupid. I mean, you whooped them anyways, 2 games. You should want to beat the champs with all the – you can't do anything about injuries and stuff, but a stupid suspension would have just been ridiculous.
And I don't believe that any of the players really want.
No, they don't want to beat Denver because then it gives them an excuse. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, Murray didn't even play game 3. So, and then you'd be like, well, we whooped them. And then we go back and forth. But now,
what was the series when Draymond got suspended in the finals?
I mean, they were done. People forget about that. But that was a little bit different of a spot, but same difference. They wouldn't have beat him without Draymond. And now look back, like no one even really remembers that. I mean, they do.
I still remember it. I still remember it
because I was on the good side of that one, and they were drawing just as thin. I mean, Golden State was whooping them, and then the suspension. He at least swung up and hit the dude in the balls. I don't think he should have been suspended either. But the LeBron thing,
dude, it's the fine. It's the playoffs. Just give everyone a big fine. Okay,
that's what I like. Give a bigger fine. Yeah,
give them 10 times the fine that you would give them in the regular season or something like that. Literally, it can be crazy. Do not suspend players from massive games in the playoffs. The regular season, who gives a shit? Fine. Yeah. Suspend them in the regular season. In the playoffs,
I'm still mad from the Suns series against the Spurs 15 years ago when Amari and them barely came off the bench and the whole team got suspended and just handed the Spurs.
That
and
seems
was
like a
the
team
first
you would
snowball
like, by the
lineup.
way. That
Huh?
Suns team seems like a team you would like.
Oh, I loved them. And I was so mad when that happened because then they were whooping the Spurs. And then that happened, which the Spurs even caused by, I think, like Ori shoved someone into the table and then like guys came off the bench. And
you want to know what's funny is those Spurs teams were my teams. I love the Spurs
the
teams.
tryharders. You always love the
definitely hated
tryharders.
the Spurs teams, and I love
Yeah.
the Spurs
I
teams.
respected the Spurs
I
teams.
love
I didn't
Bruce
like them.
Bowen. I love like Boris Diaw and all these dudes like back end.
Funny
like
thing is, I think Boris
Spurs.
Diaw was on that Suns team.
He was on that Suns team, but then he went to the Spurs and played on the Spurs.
I loved him on this. I always loved
he
him.
was like way bigger on the Spurs and way slower. Like by the time he got to the Spurs,
dimes,
I think.
though.
Oh yeah, he was good. He was so good, and he was kind of like Kyle Anderson in a way where he played at his own speed. Like he wasn't like super like.
Hold on a second. Were you the one that hit that solo shipper last night, Vince, with the Wade captain for 100K? Was that you, baby?
Oh, no way.
I love it if that was you. Was that you?
I mean, if he had Dean Wade captain, then he probably hit something. I don't know if it was the 100.
Though for 100. I want to.
He said,
baby,
yes,
let's go, Vince.
Let's
go,
love
Vince.
That.
I like
That's
that.
Fucking awesome.
And you're in here this morning after the hunt. I want to send you a Run Pure hat. Send me your info. We got to get you one of those. Now, I can't get you this Champions Nuggets lid because I only got one. But
well, he might not want that lid after today.
You're right. He might not be on this side. Bono, I gotta get you a Run Pure hat. That's sweet. That solo shipper yesterday. We were just talking about that before the show. That's freaking. That's
it is funny you're in here saying that, Vince, because we were literally just talking about before we jumped on the Dean Wade captain solo shipper for the 100K.
That's crazy in Showdown this time of year. You don't usually see a solo like that. That's good. And you're back in grinding. That warms my heart. Right back in the next morning grinding.
When you get that shipper, Tony, you feel great the next morning. You get up, you feel great. You probably like
ready to go.
Running or get your coffee.
Last minute, he said. I love it. I love that you're back in here right now.
Did you have 28 Dean Wade? Like, how many Dean Wade lineups did you? Was that your only Dean Wade lineup, Vince? Kind of wondering.
Man, that's good stuff.
And it's his birthday today. Oh, baby, happy birthday! All right,
but
there you go. You got a birthday.
I derailed like usual when we do.
That's all right.
But yeah, the Denver. It was good to see them because I could say I was confident going in and like, oh yeah, we're gonna bounce back and. I just had never seen what happened in game 2. I had never seen from this Nuggets team. They looked shook. Even Jokic was like just getting beat up. And I didn't know how they'd respond. And to their credit, they laid an absolute whooping. And Jokic, all of a sudden, Naz Reid looked small on him. And he was just doing whatever he wanted again. And the good part is, now that you got one, you want to win today, but now it's more of a pressure game on Minnesota again, where they got to hold serve today. Because even if Minnesota wins today, you still go home, win that. You only got to win one more road game, basically. So that was a big one. Like you said, it was over. They were going to get swept if they lost game 3 for sure. And even Jamal Murray, I should have started with him because he was terrible in the first. I mean, he scored 8 points in game 2. Threw a heat pad, got fined 100K, got smoked on D, showed no toughness, and he came back like a champion does. And even though it's a really tough matchup, he battled through and had an amazing game. And then you saw some frustrations the other way, which also warmed my heart. All of a sudden, they're crying about fouls. Nas going to the locker room, getting kicked out, all because of a screen? Because he got screened? He's where'd all the tough guys go? Where'd all where's the wolf pack? Where the wolf pack isn't out there coming through strong?
What's the saying? You're tough until you get punched in the mouth, like or something like that. I don't know what it is, but like toughness is only a thing until they give it back. Like I said to you, Tony, I said Denver's got to give it back to them. Like this is where in these series, when you get punched in the mouth like that and you go down 2 games at home, right? Like you lose. Smoke too, yeah. Like getting smoked 2 games at home, though. Points. You got to punch them you got to give them the same intensity and grit and aggressiveness right back. And they did that. And Minnesota didn't like it. you know why, though, they didn't like it, Tony? Because nobody likes that. Nobody wants that. You know what I mean? They want you to like submit almost like, no, let us just be the bully and push you around and be the aggressor. And they didn't do that. Denver punched him in the mouth. And that's what happened. Like, that's what happens sometimes. So
some of those
I expect
screens are just just the full hammers.
He's a massive, massive dude. But I expect Ant Edwards came out right after the game. He said it was my fault. It was all on me. I came out low on energy or whatever he said, and flat. And he took ownership for it, and that's what a leader does. I would expect him to come out very aggressive here in game 4 and see what happens. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I do agree with you, though. The pressure somehow flips to now it's on Minnesota. Like,
the beauty of the playoffs.
Before it was on Denver, all on Denver. And everyone forgets, like, Minnesota was the dog coming into the series. Now they're obviously like the favorite, with things happening. But now all the pressure's on them to win. If they lose this game and it goes back to 2-2 going back to Denver, then it's like Denver's playing with free money right now if that happens, or house money, whatever you want to call it, because that's not good. So we'll see what happens.
Denver's got to win 1 out of 2 in Minnesota, and it's as simple. And you're always factoring that you win at home, which obviously then you got to hold serve at home. But you got to win 1 out. You got to win either tonight or you got to win Game 6 in Minnesota.
What's going on? Chris B1. We got a little Trop in the house saying he's got a little weekend after family and I'm sure work and stuff like that.
Up there, baby. You got
to. By the way, if there's any mothers in the chat, happy Mother's Day to all of you.
No way we got a mother in here this morning. If we do,
you got to give them a Run Pure hat. If we do, Tony, you got to send them a Run Pure hat.
Don't be lying though, people. If you're actually a mother in there, you get a hat too. There's no way. Yep. If we got a mother, I'll be more impressed than the 100K winner being in here this morning. If we got a mother,
you never know.
We only got some diehards in here watching us this early. Maybe the rewatch.
There might be a mother that's a diehard. You don't know, Tony. You don't know. I'm not going to say. So
we got people like Dick Chuck in here.
Mother.
Yeah, all the
Nick Logrod.
Go from Khabib or something is
the mother of 3.
And our boy Derek Lewis last night just getting another dub and throwing I thought he was going to go naked for a minute.
Oh my God. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet at JSURab on Twitter, if you want to see it, but my man fanned his opponent while he was on the ground after that knockout with his own shorts, Tony, with his own fucking shorts. Derek Lewis is fucking awesome. I love that guy. I wish everyone had like the moxie and stuff like he does after he finishes fights. Like, he is so awesome. He's pulling his cup out after too, and they're like, don't zoom in. Like,
the cup too is the funniest part. He caught it with his hand and was holding it up. I'm like, dude, that was his cup. What are you doing?
That is funny, actually. Tony, yes,
Middle East. Pro Denver. Get out of here, Peter Marshall. I'll get that off there. How are we pro Denver? The guy over here was rubbing it in all week on me. We're not both pro Denver. The guy in the red.
Don't put me in with you Denver slaps, all right? You guys were the favorites. I'm on the dog.
This
it's just now they're not a dog.
Right here is the separation between this series.
That's right. It's Ant Edwards versus Nikola Jokic.
And I also agree with our boy NY, who's definitely the man. He's perfect for the WWE because that's what he's just amazing. Like, he's not even a good fighter, but he drops hammers. He talks good. He's funny. He's everything about him is just awesome.
Yep. And shout out to NYG fan. I saw he shipped the old 555. I saw that in the Discord yesterday. NYG fan.
Which slate?
Great dude. I think it was yesterday's NBA slate. He shipped the 555. Yeah. On DraftKings.
He always crushes. He's freaking good. He's the man.
Yeah. He's a really good player. Great dude. Love NYG fan. Congrats to you. We got some winners in the chat today, Tony. Can we get some winners here? I mean, we got some winners in the chat today.
We got it. I like this day better than the other two games too, because I just hate those Boston series. They just, man, I just want Boston to have to play someone like these other teams do. It's so frustrating. But I love these two games
because the Knicks can get OG back for that series. Like that's what I hope.
I'm worried. Oh, you're worried too. I mean, we're worried about OG. I just, man, it looks so bad. I think he's probably done. I don't know.
I'm not worried about the Knicks though in general. And let's start there, Tony, with the Knicks and the Pacers here, because from what I watched from the Pacers, the Knicks lose OG Anunoby. They're already down a few other guys like Mitch Robb and obviously Randall's been out for a while. But you go to Indiana, and you were on. I remember we talked about this, and you were on like Indiana's gonna fucking slap these dudes, and crush them. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. The Knicks are just so gritty. They're getting 7.5. Like, I can't not go with they're just too gritty. Like, I don't think they get killed like that. And even without OG, the Knicks still could have won that game and were in position to win the game, honestly. And they just lost it at the very end. But I was sitting there going, my God, is this Indiana team really that good? Like, they can't whoop this team when they're down all these players. They go home. They've lost 2 games. Like, kind of like how Denver was like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. We're down 2. Like, that's kind of what you probably thought was going to happen. What happened to the Denver-Minnesota game in game 3? You probably thought the same thing was going to happen to the Knicks and the Pacers game in game 3, and it didn't happen. I'm sitting there like, man, Jalen Brunson had a really bad game. He had a boneheaded play at the end where he tried to draw a foul instead of like getting up a good shot, which he didn't have to shoot the ball right away in the first place. That was the other thing that drove me nuts. But he had a bad game. Isaiah Hartenstein didn't have like the best game. Like, I can go down the list, like a few of these guys. Precious was just okay. Dante was the one that was really good in that game.
Dante was not okay in that game.
He was unbelievable. But even Josh Hart was just like so in that game.
I think Josh Hart was very good too. I think Hart and Dante were like
not offensively. I mean,
but he's never like dominant offense. He just makes every big play though. He's your guy. Like, he's a JSU guy. He makes every play.
Did you see? I retweeted his stats from the playoffs, Tony? Did you see? It was prior to, I think, last game, but I don't know if you saw the stats. It's literally insane when you look at his stats from the playoffs. He's averaging like 18.5, 19 points in the playoffs. Like, they need him to score that though. Like, he can't have 10 points when you're down OG.
Like, he's a star in this, in what they need him. So he's got to put up star numbers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying though. Like, he gave you 10. He needs 16 to 20 points when OG's out. Like, he needs it. Jalen Brunson needs to drop 30. Like, that's what this team needs. You know what I mean? And the fact that Jalen Brunson was so off, especially in the first half, they switched it up. They put Aaron Nesmith on him, Tony. Did you think that was one of the reasons? I think it was more just the physicality.
And he hurt his foot in the first quarter again. I mean, he just, that hurt that because he didn't find a rhythm because of that, because he was out again. I mean, it's hard to just go out for like a decent amount and then come back. He did it the game before, but I think that was more of an anomaly. I don't know. Like, they look good to me. I mean, and then you get that Alec Burks just nuke spot too, where so some of the things you're talking about, I totally agree with. They need Hart. I thought he got a ton of rebounds. Brunson was banged up and played bad, but Brunson still got some big shots down the stretch. And then Alec Burks just made every freaking shot. So, like, in the playoffs, we've seen it forever. Like, if you get a couple role guys like Alec Burks just make every shot, it just makes such a big – and it was like big shots he made too. Like, Indiana go on a little run. Burks would just hit a 3, like a pull-up 3 too, not like – I don't know how to even, like, not like the Josh Green 3 where he's wide open. Like,
they're not like leaving him. He's like catching it, dribbling, putting it up like in their face and stuff like that. And that's pretty insane too. Like, you don't really play at all in these playoffs. And then you come out and in 21 minutes, you give them that 14 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a block, a steal in 21 minutes, like that's huge. And who knows what Tibbs is going to do. I think it's fully just going to depend on how good Alec Burks and Miles McBride play off the bench. Like if today you told me Miles McBride played 35 or 40 minutes and he made like 4 threes or 5 threes, I wouldn't be shocked if Alex Burks played 8 minutes, off the bench.
I would bet on that even, yeah.
But if Alec Burks outplays Miles McBride, he could play another 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So that's where this series and
for example,
what you're
too,
doing.
like some of these projection sites have Burks higher than McBride today. And I don't see how you could do that. Like, I know he was awesome, but you can't base too much on one game, especially with Tibbs, because he's always going to go right back to what he wants to do. And he doesn't want to play Burks. So I don't think he's a very good play. We got all the winners in here today.
God damn it, Steven. That is
Steven Wonderboy Thompson. Isn't that the guy's name? Wonderboy. Isn't that his name?
Steven Wonderboy. Yeah, Steven Thompson.
Is that's his name, Wonderboy? I couldn't.
Yeah, it's UFC. He might be him. You never know. You never
if
know.
That's the case, then we are like on fire this morning. We got everyone in here. Wonderboy.
Yeah, we don't need anyone else in the chat if that's the case. But shout out to you, Steven. That's freaking awesome. Hell of a parlay. Hit 12K. Yeah, so I agree with you. Like Miles McBride, to me, I just have to put him ahead of Burks. Even with Burks playing so well, Tony, Miles McBride still played more. He still played more minutes. Like, I know Burks outscored him, but
and Miles McBride's better. So, like, take all Tibbs out. Like, if Burks makes every shot and stuff goes his way, he's going to be good. But McBride has way more outs, and he's just a better player. Like, it's 2-1 in this series. So the same things we're saying, like the Knicks need to win today. The Pacers just won. They don't want it to be 2-2 going back home with all these close games. The fun part about this series is going to be both these teams play close games. And I think for the first time today, I think we see 2 really good games. I think we see 2 games that go to the end. Both series, that's the cool part about all 4 series even. All of them are 2-1. So every series you got different dynamics where you need one team to win. And I think the pressure today, not the pressure, because if the Knicks lose, obviously it's only 2-2, but I think they want to get this one today, go back 3-1, really put the pressure on the Pacers. And the Pacers obviously got to still hold home court here. It's a little different than the other series because Denver is still on the road 2-1. It's a little bit different dynamic, but I think we see 2 classics today. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks are cheat code on these slates too, which is another reason I like these, because I could still see these 5 starters just playing all the minutes. It didn't happen last game because the Brunson injury. Hartenstein was just not getting it done as much in there. If they play good, though, these starters are still just going to play all the minutes. I mean, the 3 guards will play all 48, and the bigs will play 30 plus to up to upwards of 40, and there's just no minutes left for Burks and McBride. So an interesting route is just to play the 5 starters on a team and then figure out what you got in the next game, because I'm very confident the next game is going to have way less offense than the first game. So
yeah, it definitely, again, seems like they're the best spot this game 1, and game 2 is not as good of a spot. The one thing I will say, like that double big lineup that the Knicks throw out there with Precious and Hartenstein, I just don't love it. Like I don't think it works. I think with OG out, I think they just need more scoring, and that's why they went to Burks and McBride. I think they just realized like those lineups don't work. And clearly Tibbs went Hartenstein when there's no foul trouble anyways. Hartenstein over Precious when it comes down to it. So to me, Precious is actually the guy. And again, he's probably going to start. He's going to be high owned.
It's the price tag too. He's the same price basically as Burks and McBride. So it's
exactly. But he's going to be double the ownership too on top of it. So
I think he should.
Yeah, that's fine. But I just feel
I don't even totally
those lineups don't work.
I don't even totally hate playing 6 Knicks. I know you hate that
You
on a
would
slate like this.
6 Knicks.
These
No.
dudes are going to play so many minutes.
No, 5 dudes are going to play so many minutes. The other 2 are not.
But 2 of them are only 4K. And look at the other guys in that price range.
Yeah, but 2 of them are going to get what Miles McBride and Precious got, like 20 minutes and like 15 to 17 fantasy points, which is not going to be on the winner, I don't think.
Yeah.
I not in the optimal winner, I guess.
I guess just looking at it though in that range, these Minnesota guys are in that range, like McDaniel. I can't play McDaniels over those guys. I can't play Nah over. I'm sure you like Nah, but Nah's hurt now too, a little bit banged up. I don't want to play these defensive guys over those guys.
You're different though. That's gonna make you different. Yeah, they're not better plays on the surface, but dude, if Nah drops 30 today and outscores Precious, you're gonna be so different.
Nah's not dropping 30 though.
Why? He's at home. He's done it before in this series. Jaden McDaniels
just playing defense. They're making him work on D. He's not.
So is Jaden McDaniels. But if Jaden McDaniels
they're both plays stock.
Okay, Jaden McDaniels outscored Precious last game.
Yeah, I think Precious. How many minutes did? Because I think that's the floor of minutes he'll play.
Pretty much the same that McDaniels played, 22-23.
McDaniels only played 23 minutes because of fouls.
Yep.
Yeah.
And blowout. Yeah.
I derailed us a little, but I agree with you anyways. I'm not even disagreeing because I was just saying in general, if you're playing a bunch, I wouldn't hate having some with that, but I like the Miles McBride over Precious pivot. I don't like the Burks pivot. I definitely like Precious over Burks. I'll say that much, but I like the McBride pivot because he's one of those guys too, where Indiana's got a little momentum. I just think he plays better in these spots where there's pressure and he knows they need him a little bit to give a boost. I actually really like the Deuce McBride play today.
Yeah, I think the other reason why Alec Burks was so needed in that game was because Jalen Brunson was struggling early to create his own shot. If Jalen Brunson comes out hot, I don't think they need Burks as much. You know what I mean? If he's feeling himself, Tony, I think it's just because they don't have anyone else who can create an open look. Alec Burks is literally the only other guy who can actually create an open shot for himself, really. All these other guys aren't really that way. Even Dante's great moving without the ball. If you watch him, he does a lot of back cuts and he'll get layups at the rim. Hartenstein's good at giving that little bounce pass for the back cut and stuff. He'll move without to get an open three, but he's not creating his own shot a lot. You know what I mean? It's a lot of catch and shoot or, moving without the ball, getting a layup off of a, motion and stuff like that. And Alec Burks is the one other guy who can actually do it on a consistent basis because he's done it for years. That was always what he was known for. When he comes in there, he can, get his shot. He can get any shot he wants, a mid-range, a three. These other guys just can't do it. Same thing with Deuce McBride. But if Jalen Brunson's cooking early, I don't think they need him as much. So in which that case, they'd probably go defense over offense if Jalen Brunson's cooking. So yeah, I agree with you for the most part on the Knicks. I'm going to be higher with you.
How do you rank the key? I guess is how do you rank them? Obviously, you can't do it by price, but on the 2-gamer, it doesn't really matter, anyways. How do you rank all of them?
I want Hart and DiVincenzo for sure. So those guys, I'm definitely playing. Probably.
How do you rank the friggin' Knicks? Rank them 1 to 7.
Hart, DiVincenzo, Brunson.
Is that Hart number 1? Seriously, at 7,900.
Yeah. Dude, he had a bad game and dropped 42.
I know. I'm just saying,
he had a bad game and dropped 42 fantasy points. When Pascal has a bad game, he drops 20 or 30. Josh Hart had a bad game and dropped 42. And they're priced the same, Tony. There's $200 difference between Pascal Siakam and Josh Hart.
The biggest thing we disagree on is I don't think Hart had a bad game, and you do. I think that he had 18 rebounds.
He had 51 and 59 and 46 fantasy points his last 3 before that.
I know, and 2 of them were at home, and the last road game was 4.
I'm saying offensively, he didn't have the best game. That's what I'm saying. Compared to his other games. Yeah,
Scoring,
and if he scores better, Tony, he has 50.
yeah, but he's
And
also not going to get 18 rebounds, or is he?
why isn't he? Dude, he's so good on the
He's just going to
boards.
get more rebounds than anyone in the world. He just,
I mean, were they all defensive rebounds too? Like
if
literally.
just watching the game pure eyeball, I would have thought it felt like he had 35 rebounds. It like felt like he got every rebound. He was
Dude, if he got a
boxing these dudes
2020
out.
game, you would not be shocked. Like if he got a 2020 game.
Nothing he
Like
does shocks me. It's just, yeah.
actually what he did sitting on the bench for a little bit was the only thing that shocked
5
me. I
minutes,
couldn't
we're like
believe he
going
sat.
crazy. Everyone's like,
I
how
couldn't
did he
believe
sit
it.
in 5 minutes? He still played 43.
I was shocked he sat for the 4 minutes. I was like,
I
what
was
the
too, and it
hell?
was at a spot too where it was weird that they pulled. He must have asked to come out. Is the only thing I can think.
Yeah, or something. Something wasn't feeling right. Who the heck knows? Maybe too many Mike and Ikes before the game. I don't know.
See, that has
Could be
to
some of
help
that.
him though. So you got Hart, DiVincenzo, then who?
Brunson, Hartenstein, Deuce McBride, Precious. That's how I'd
Burks.
rank them. Yeah, Alec Burks. How would you
Yeah.
rank them?
I mean, I got to go Brunson one. I think today. I just think he's so hard on himself. And first of all, I loved Brunson's reaction to losing, where he took responsibility, didn't blame the refs. If anything, went the other way and went even further and said, "We can't blame the refs. We got to be better." And Edwards on the same slate on the sideline. It's one game, guys. Don't worry about it. Picking his teammates up, taking the blame in the press conference. Both stars checked all the things off the chart for me because I hate excuse makers. And on the other
Yeah.
end, I think Jokic did the same thing. And these guys, Jamal was a little whiny, but I love when these stars don't make excuses. They don't freaking make excuses. And I love that. So I think Brunson is my number one, but he's a stud anyway. So you really can't even put him in there.
My other take on the slate is that I think I don't want to play Jokic, which we'll get to in a second. I want to play.
And I agree with you a little bit. And it's not because I don't like him. It's just because these guys in this game are just a better game. They're going to play defense in that next game.
And when Jokic gets 68 or something, and Hallie, Edwards, and Brunson get between 55 and 60, I'll take my chances with these two guys in that build for like 2K less. And that's kind of my point on this slate is, Brunson's still a great play. I just got to compare him to these guys, and I'd probably have him one to these guys, right, Tony? Which is all that matters when ranking them. So ranking the Knicks is fine, but you still got to rank them out by where they are, like in relative to the other guys on the other teams, and like in that top 9, an upper 8K range. I go Brunson, Edwards, Hallie, right in the order that it is. So,
I definitely have these two over Edwards too. Like I put Edwards more in the Jokic. He's cheaper, so I'd put him ahead of Jokic. But I definitely have Brunson and Hallie ahead of Edwards too, because it's going to be tough on him as well.
I think Ann Edwards big.
No way. You think he's right? No way. Call me stunned that you love him today. I don't believe
it. And I don't know. Hallie's put up 11 and 16 threes in his last 2 games. A lot of his points are coming off those threes. Is he going to keep shooting 11 and 16? And if so, is he going to make all of them like he's been? I mean, maybe he is. Like if he keeps shooting that way, that's the one thing I am cautious about.
He's just mispriced though, too. Like he's just
8,600.
Like he's just missed, and he looks good again. Like he's back a little bit. But we agree on the Knicks, so I know you got to get going too. So let's get to the Pacers since we're talking about Hallie. I think that they're honestly a nightmare, and it's how my playoffs have gone. I'll be honest, I haven't done that great outside of a few slates. The Pacers tilted me last game because I love Obi and TJ. They've been crushing, and then last game they just played even less than the games before, which brings me back to our talk we've had all playoffs where it's like, why are we not just playing starters? Like we keep trying to. With the Knicks is different
because the starters still suck outside of like Halliburton.
But like I
played called the Turner thing.
It was so frustrating that they were just never in. It was so tilting that it was like that.
Like Aaron Nesmith, I'll tell you right now, Aaron Nesmith played great aggressive defense. But I can almost guarantee you he's going to be in foul trouble this game. He got away with a lot of bullying, pushing, shoving, like just running through people. He got away with a lot of stuff. And I like that in the playoffs. I just don't know if it's going to happen 2 games in a row. And I think Jalen
always
Brunson
goes back to these guys, though. Like Nembhard was terrible all series.
And Nembhard barely outscored TJ. Like Nembhard got
barely,
19.
but the point is they're both playing, so it's hard for. It's the same example you used about Precious. So just throw them in there, for example. How can you play those guys over Precious?
Yeah, I mean,
they just don't. They're not going to. He's not going to commit to. He's for sure not. I want.
My
him
only
to
case
do
is that TJ McConnell in 20 minutes has the upside to outscore all those guys. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
He hates TJ, and it's just infuriates me. He just won't play him. He won't, no matter what happens either.
Yeah, he hates him. He gets an extra like 3-minute bump if he's playing really well. I think it is.
Defense, is that what it is?
I think it is. Yeah,
he just won't do it no matter what.
And I think TJ takes the ball away too much from Tyrese, and I bet you Tyrese secretly hates it, even though he talks up TJ. But I would guarantee that Tyrese doesn't love playing on the court with TJ. That's just my guess.
I agree. I agree with him because it's so when you have one team that just plays their good guys the whole game, and then you have another team that just plays 15 guys. It's just I don't see how that's not a big advantage to the Knicks.
He should literally play 7 guys. Like TJ McConnell and Obi should be the only guys that come off that bench, and they should just rotate the other 5 starters. And if you do that, TJ and Obi can play like 20 something minutes, right, Tony? Like they can get a decent amount of run, but when you're playing fucking 9 or 10 dudes or whatever it is, like
I just don't get why he wants to go that deep. And then they won, so he's going to do the same thing. The Pacers are the team, honestly. And Pascal just hasn't been that good. It's a bad matchup for Turner. Mm-hmm. Like you said, with Nesmith, he played 38 minutes, didn't get foul calls, played pretty good, and still only got 22 fantasy points. I just don't. And even TJ. So we both love TJ. He's almost 5K now, where it's.
Yeah.
I think the Pacers are. These slates to me are just cut and dry. Just the Knicks with maybe one piece from each other team. Where one, I mean, at most 2. I might honestly set a rule like don't give me more than 2 of any other of the 3 teams, and just
I like that rule. I like that rule. Limit it to 2 Pacers max. 4. Yeah, limit it to 2 Pacers max. You want at least 4 to 5 Knicks on all your teams, and do the same thing with Denver. I think 2 max. Do the same thing with Minnesota.
Max. Of all teams today, Denver, and we can honestly just transition to there. I don't know how you play 2, because they were another team that I just was wrong about. I keep wanting Peyton Watson. He's not playing, so I've given up on that.
Yeah, they're not doing it, Tony. They're not.
And we're not playing. The one guy that so I'll fully transition us. The one guy that I have been right about that plays Ant Edwards better than anyone somehow is Christian Brown. I don't get it. I don't, but I think it's because he's lower and he's a little faster than Gordon, where his foot speed's just a little quicker. And honestly, with Ant, I want a littler guy on him just because if he shoots outside, I'm good with it. You just can't, like with Gordon, he just goes right at him and gets layups. You can't have that, obviously.
Bro, once he gets downhill on somebody, you're fucked. Like he is so good when he gets downhill.
Yeah.
He's got great footwork. He's got really good finishing ability. He's super athletic too, so he can like yam on you on top of it. Like, once he gets downhill, it's over. I agree with you. If I'm any team, I'm just saying I will live and die with you shooting the Michael Jordan fadeaways and all that stuff and on the outside, but I cannot let you get downhill and just score layups and dunks on me like that. Like it's just it's so easy for him once he gets there. So I think Christian Brown too, he's smaller, like you said, with the foot speed. He still looks to me though like pretty strong, Tony, for a smaller guy. He looks like a strong, he's not wiry, you know what I mean? Like those wiry guys, I think Ant will just go right through. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Christian Braun, I think he's a little
Yeah,
stronger
like
just
obviously
for a
Ant's
smaller guy.
stronger and more powerful, but he at least holds his own in there where he
Well,
doesn't
Ant's
just
more
let him.
explosive. Like
Yeah.
Ant is so explosive. Like that's what sets him apart from like all these other guys is he's just freakishly explosive. How many dunks have we seen where he's like literally dunking over dudes like Dwight Howard Superman push shots, but he's doing that like in game on fucking like John Collins. You remember that where he dislocated his finger? He
Yeah.
dislocated his finger. He couldn't like celebrate it, but he fucking yammed on him and stuff. And he dislocated it. And he said after the thing, he's like, oh shit, I couldn't celebrate because I dislocated my finger. And I was like, yeah, that's the type of stuff though, like he can do that sets him apart, I think, from a lot of these guys. But I agree with you on the rules. Like I think two max, and then just four
Yeah.
4 to 5 Knicks
And that's
is
all
like,
three teams too. Just looking at the rosters, like, and we're on Denver right now. I just don't see a reason you need to play more than two of these guys. Where you could play Jokic, like I definitely wouldn't play Jokic and Murray together on the 2-gamer. So that's one of those two. I mean, Porter and Gordon are just solid fillers. You don't really need them. You don't. I mean, would I be shocked if one of them was on the winner? No, but I don't like them that much at those prices. I mean, KCP, I'm never playing. He's the defensive guys on each team. I'm just not playing. So KCP at 44, the condom plays that we talk about every day during the. I'm not playing McDaniels. I'm not playing Nah. I'm not playing KCP. But you go cheaper. Honestly, I don't like Justin Holiday, but he's 3,200, and they keep going to him, and he's hit some shots. Like Christian Brown and Justin Holiday are the two guys for me from Denver, 33 and 3,200. And they fit on a build where you play 4 Knicks and Halliburton. They fit so good to where you can play what you want with it. Like if you play, I like Christian Brown though. I think they put him on Ant. They like the matchup. He guards him. So for me, my Nuggets I like are Jokic, which I'm not going to play as much of because of the price, and Christian Brown and Holiday. I don't like MPJ, Gordon, KCP, and I'm definitely done with Reggie and Peyton. I'm not playing those guys.
Yeah, I think for me, it's because I already said I'm not playing Jokic. It's MPJ. Don't forget that game blew out. Like
He was good in that game too.
He played 30 minutes. He was really good. If he got his normal 38 to 40, he's probably crushing that price tag. So I'll just leave that as a side note. But he's probably my favorite like starter on Denver overall. And then, like you said, like you can take shots on Christian Brown. I'm not playing KCP, no way. I'm
My
not
only
playing
problem with
Aaron Gordon.
MPJ. So, like, how do you play MPJ or Gordon over Dante or Hardenstein?
No, you don't, but I'm just saying,
Just
like,
as
if you're
like,
making multiple teams, and let's say your rules, like my rules, like if I literally say like two, like no more than 2 Denver, and I'm lower on like everyone on Denver, but like 2 guys, it's probably going to give me some
yeah.
MPJ,
And that'll be a
like
pivot that could win you a tournament too. Because I mean, let's face it,
right.
these Knicks, and this is always where you get me on this stuff because I like to play extra of the good team. And like one guy's probably gonna stink today from the Knicks. It might be Dante. Dante's been incredible.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you go from Dante to MPJ, and MPJ hits all his shots. Dante finally has a bad shooting game, which he hasn't had. And then there's your pivot to win a tournament, just that slight pivot and that's where some of the people that play 150 and stuff get an advantage because on a single team I'd have a hard time making that pivot, but on especially because Dante's going to play all 48 again, and it's tough, but that's how you win a tournament, little pivots like that.
Yeah, and again, it's not that even if you're making one team, like it's not that crazy. Like I know it's terrifying to fade someone like Dante or Hartenstein
It's
or those
impossible for
guys,
me. I
but
just
if you're
like it.
making like one team, it's literally that simple of like you just hope Dante misses shots and scores 33
Or play
and
Gordon
somehow
over Hartenstein, the same price type
or
thing.
play Gordon, but like and somehow MPJ makes all the shots and drops 40. And there's your differentiation piece that's a winner. So but yeah, I mean the Denver guys I think are very simple. I'm very low on Denver. Minnesota, The only difference I have from you is I think I'm higher on Ant and I'm higher on Jaden McDaniels just for the simple fact that I think that if the dude gets me 25 at 4,200, he could end up being the Lou Dort optimal piece.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's as crazy if the guy plays 40 minutes. Now, if he gets in foul trouble, then you're probably fucked, right? But if he doesn't and he plays 39 minutes at home, I'll take my chances. The dude hasn't had like that great of a shooting game either. He hasn't made any threes in the series. Like at some point, he's going to knock down a couple threes. All right. I know he's putting a lot in the defense, but at some point, he's going to hit some threes. And when he does, he's going to end up having one big game in the series. And I think it could be this game at home. And the same thing goes with Nah. Like I know you don't like him. He's defensive, but he's 4K. He's 4K, and could he outscore Deuce McBride? Hell yeah, he could outscore Deuce McBride. I think it's crazy. Just because he's playing defense, he's still someone that I would take shots on here. Like, I still think he's a better play than Christian.
If Nah was on a different team besides your team, you would be just the same as you always are. Somehow these are the guys you like, even though you always hate these guys. Because they're on your squad, all of a sudden you like them.
No, it's because I actually think that these guys have I think they're way better than what people even think that. Like Nah, I've said this to you for how long have I said to you that Nah is so good and he's so underrated on this team? Haven't I said this before the playoffs? Haven't I told you this?
We've been on Nah for 5 years since he's been
okay. So then what do you mean? I'm a bias to the guys that I think are actually good at basketball.
In this role, like he's not.
But Tony, what is he outscoring? Wait, what is he outscoring at 4K? Precious scored 21.
I could see one of these guys being in the winner at like 22 fantasy points.
And that's all I want, though. Yeah. That's all I want.
They could easily get 22. Any of these guys.
And I don't want lineups probably with both of them on the same. So you could even make that a rule.
Do that.
Yeah, so you could even make that a rule though, like only two, and I don't want Nah and Jaden on the same teams. But I think you can play one of them, and I don't think it's crazy that they outscore the range that is fucking, like all these cheap guys under him, Christian Brown, Justin Holiday.
Stop putting the 3K guy in there with the 4K guy. Christian Brown's 3K.
He's 3,400.
He's even cheaper than that.
He still has to outscore all them. He's still got to outscore Miles McBride, Alec Burks, Shepard. He's got to outscore all those guys, right?
Because he's significantly cheaper. It's a different price range.
No, but I'm saying for him to be in he has to at least outscore them a little bit to be in the winner. He has to outscore all those guys.
Just when you play with these rosters, though, like if I play 4 Knicks, I play Halliburton or Ant, you don't have enough to play the 4K guys with it. Like just play like that 700-800 makes a difference to get you an extra Nick or stud.
Yeah. Okay. Then they probably won't hit as many teams if that's the case. Like they probably won't hit as many of those.
I think Brown will be lower owned too at a cheaper price. So we know what we're saying. I mean, I agree.
I know what I'm saying. You just don't want those guys because you don't want like the upside of 25.
And it's not just Minnesota either. Like I'm just not playing Lou Dort. I'm just not playing Neesmith.
I get it. You don't have to explain it to me. I've just seen it too much on these 2-game slates.
They keep winning, and they're going to keep punishing me.
21 is on the optimal, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I didn't play any of this guy, and somehow he just fits on a team at 4,700, and he has 21 fantasy points, and he's on a shipper. And I'm like, how does this happen? But at the same time, I'm like, well, it is a 2-game slate, and someone's got to be on the winner at those positions. So I don't know.
I definitely like McDaniels better than Nah for sure because Nah's more hurt than people think too. He kept grabbing his shoulder. They were sending him through all those. They're going to keep sending him through those screens now on his bad shoulder. They're going to run him off that. So and I think McDaniels got in foul trouble. I don't think that. I know that. And like he'll play 40 minutes if he plays. So I definitely like McDaniels more than Nah.
What about the last thing? The last thing we got to talk about is the bigs before we get into who we like to win and the bigs for Minnesota. We didn't talk about them at all, but Cat, Rudy, Nas. what are you doing with that like trio with all three of them in? It's kind of tough to play them, honestly, but the price tags on like Cat and Rudy look really cheap. It's just, man, when all three of them are in, it's really tough to click those names. So like, how do you like rank them? Are they just at the bottom for you in that 6K range? Are they?
It's really hard to get there because I agree with you totally what you just said. It's the price tags look incredible. The problem is they're for sure going to play all three of them because Naz Reid, I mean, obviously 6th man of the year, incredible in the first couple games.
He needs to play. He needs to play more. By the way, he
And
needs
they're
to play
just
like
gonna who are they
earlier.
gonna sit though? Like they love Gobert. That's why they play. Another reason they played so good in game 2 was Gobert was out. And people don't think that because it limited their rotation because they're not going to
It's
sit
crazy
Gobert.
to
They're just not.
me that It's crazy to me that people can watch any of the games with him and any of the games without him and be like,
It's going
"Oh
to make them
yeah,"
look
like.
really bad when they lose both at home after they rolled without him in game 2.
And then the Rudy stands will still be like, "Well, Rudy won Defensive Player of the Year how many times?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Okay, that's great." Like
The price tags. So the good part about the 3 bigs, there's a decent chance at least one of them, probably Cat, gets in foul trouble.
yeah,
And once one of them gets in foul trouble, the other 2 could definitely crush these price tags. But I just don't know how you pick it because it's going to come down to Nas. I really don't think I can go to just because he needs even more. Even though we know he's really good and we know they should
yeah.
play him, doesn't mean they're going to. Because if Cat and Gobert don't get in foul trouble, I mean, Nas Reid is not playing more than low 20s minutes.
I think the simple answer is Cat, honestly,
And Cat,
because
we don't
he is
like
the
Cat, but
highest
he
risk
look
of
good.
he's the highest risk of foul trouble. But seriously, Tony, he's $300 from Michael Porter Jr. and Cat. Michael Porter Jr. were like, if he drops 40, we're happy. Cat could drop 50. Like he
Cat
could
has
have
looked
50.
good too. I'm not
Yeah.
a Cat fan, but he's looked good. He's honestly
I've
looked as
never
good
been
as
a Cat
anyone on the
fan.
team.
I've never been a Cat fan, and he has looked great.
I
So
mean,
I
he
mean,
looks confident, and it's because
yeah,
of Ant. Ant's got
of
him
course
that
it is.
confidence going. Like every time he shoots it, you think it's going in. It didn't used to
Yep.
be that way.
Yep. 100%. All right. I think we talked through all these guys here. Tony, we got to give our winners who we think's going to win these games. Who you betting today? You betting the Knicks? You betting the Pacers? Denver, obviously. Who
Yeah,
you got?
you know I'm betting Denver. I like both road teams today. I think I was on the Pacers last game. I think Brunson's really good today. Like I think Brunson might get like 70 today. I think he
Ooh,
has a
like
monster
it.
game. I just loved him in that press. And I just know guys like Brunson, it's eating at him. Like it's all he's thought about is how bad he was. He wants to just do it. And I just like the Knicks. I mean, that's kind of the team we both just enjoy watching.
I love it.
I like
I love
watching
it.
Indiana too, to be fair. So it's a fun just talking pure basketball. It's a fun series to just watch it and watch them get after it. So I'm definitely on the Knicks. Obviously, definitely on the Nuggets. So both dogs for me today. I think we see for the first time though 2 really good games. I think both games go to the wire. Whoever makes a play today gets the dubs, and I'm excited to watch them. It's going to be a fun day.
Boom. Valentino said it for me. Knicks and Wolves, baby. We got them. Knicks and Wolves taking it home today. That's who I'm betting. And I'll compound the Knicks love with a little Deuce McBride pivot off
I
of
like it.
the popular guys in that range from the Knicks. We'll go with Deuce
It's
McBride. I
like you
like your
said,
Brunson
last
take.
game he played 29 minutes and he wasn't that good, but the key number is 29 minutes at that price tag. And if he plays good, he could get even more run.
And I'm
I
telling
think
you, I
he's
think a lot of that was due to the fact that Alec Burks was playing good, but Brunson struggled mightily early, and he couldn't create a shot. So they needed someone who could create a shot like Alec Burks. So
I freaking love that Deuce call. Deuce and Christian Brown are the 2 guys that I want to leverage the field with, but both of those 2 guys.
love it. I love that. All right, guys, that's going to do it here for us. Happy Mother's Day. If you're rewatching this, or if a mother came in to the chat late, happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to my one of my favorite moms, Amber Niehaus. Shout out to Amber Niehaus, my mother. I love you. I'll be seeing you soon. So shout out to you as well. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Man, Wiley77 giving a baseball take. This is an NBA show, Wiley. Get it together. The baseball show will be at 11
an hour
Eastern.
into the show to say stack the Brewers, baby.
Baseball show coming up 11 Eastern time. DC, I think in Mango, we'll be bringing some winners for the baseball streets. So stay tuned for that. And then we got a NASCAR show 12 Eastern time with Rubio and Stat Stational. So enjoy those shows today. Enjoy the day. Happy Mother's Day again to all the moms out there. Until then, we will see you guys later. Go Wolves. Shout out to my man, Big T. Thanks for joining me early on a Sunday morning. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, we're out. Peace.